Welcome everybody to a new edition of Let's Do Lunch. My name is Ned Sherman. I'm actually going to have us update that slide that just came on because I'm no longer a partner at Manat Phelps and Phillips. I'm now with Skybound Entertainment as our Chief Business Affairs and Legal Officer. And I'm also a co-founder of Digital Media Wire, the producer of Let's Do Lunch. It's a pleasure to have everybody here today. Let me invite you to introduce yourselves in the chat, which is right on the bottom nav. You can open it up and select everyone and feel free to drop in information about yourself and to comment throughout the show today. This is another edition of the Rise of NFTs. And I'm really thrilled to have our guests here today, who I'll introduce in just a minute. If you do have questions for the panel, please put them in the Q&A area, which is also right on the bottom nav. But without further ado, let me introduce Taro Koki. Taro is founder and CEO of KurumaNFT. Welcome to the show, Taro.
Hey there. Thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be on your show.
Terrific. And our moderator today is Phil Ranta, who is CEO of Wormhole Labs. Welcome, Phil.
Hello. Thank you for having me back, Ned. Congratulations on the new job.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a great show, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for tuning in. We have another edition of the Rise of the NFTs, and boy, have NFTs been on a roller coaster the past couple weeks. It's such an incredible honor to be joined today by Taro Koki. He's the founder and CEO of KurumaNFT, which is a company that's focused on automotive-themed NFTs. They've already minted their Pit Pass, which serves as a founder's token for special on-platform benefits. They launched an NFT collection 3 hours ago with Sibal. So make sure to Google that. Go pick that up now. They famously create body kits for cars, and they will soon release a collab with the legendary Racer magazine. But before we get to Taro, as always, I'd like to start with some news headlines from the past week in NFTs, which, despite a major downturn in the market, are shockingly, surprisingly hopeful. Spotify has begun trialing NFTs on their platform for artist profile images. Dwayne Wade, during this downturn, announced his faith and buy-in of the NFT market, and he's doing a lot of cool things there. A UK court has decided NFTs are actually private property. So for Ned and the other lawyers who are listening, that could have huge legal ramifications in the future. Famous comic book artist Todd McFarlane, close to my heart as a fan of the Amazing Spider-Man in the 90s, finally dropped his NFT collection and platform, which was on Steve Aoki's platform. The MLB, Major League Baseball, partnered with SoRare to create an NFT-based fantasy game. And finally, possibly the buzziest news of the week, Madonna and Beeple released a very, very shocking collection featuring Madonna fully nude, giving birth to a tree, and another one giving birth to robot centipedes, I believe. If you haven't seen it, it's not safe for work, but check it out eventually. It is very risque work, as Beeple always does, and Madonna always does. So getting to the interview, Taro, we asked the same question to start these chats, and we've been doing so for over a year. In your own words, what are NFTs?
Great question. Great question, Phil. I get asked this question a lot too, actually. We just had a launch party about 3 weeks ago in downtown LA. And I actually started, just spoke for a couple minutes, but I actually started with that same question. When you look it up on the internet or, Wikipedia or Google it, it comes out something like, it's like a digital media asset authenticated and certified on the blockchain. And we've figured out in the past 6 months that that is like the technical definition of an NFT. But what an NFT actually is to us is it's the way to own the possibilities of a future with folks that share a common passion, right? it's a way to own the possibilities of a future with folks that share a common passion. And that's what we feel right now with Kuruma NFT. Kuruma NFT, Kuruma means wheels in Japanese, by the way. It's like a slang for cars. So, what we're doing right now is not actually, talking about the current state of anything. Web3 is all about the future, right? No one's excited about Web3 because of what's going on right now.
Right.
That's
the understatement of the conversation. So
right. I mean, we've got a lot of challenges and a lot of hurdles, and it's not easy. It's the state is just in chaos. But what we're all excited about, I think, is like the future of what Web3 can bring to us right now, and it solves a lot of problems, but there's a lot of hurdles that we have to overcome, and that's what makes it exciting. So we feel like we're all into NFTs, and we're interested in NFTs is because of the possibilities that it brings to us. It's hope for the future, and that's really how we define NFTs at Kuruma.
That is a very cool definition, and I appreciate looking to the forward looking, especially when it is around communities, because the automotive industry has been all over the NFT industry from the jump. Every F1 car, I don't know if anyone's watched F1 recently, but if not, just Google some images from recent F1 events. You will see crypto.com, you'll see FTX, you'll see different NFT platforms, you'll see blockchain all over it. There has just been this magical combination of NFTs and racing since the beginning. Why do you think that that's been such a great fit?
I have the answer to that, because racing is about innovation. It's about forward development, right? Racing is the pinnacle of automotive development. The reason why people race, and why Ferrari and Mercedes and Honda, all of these brands and companies are in racing, is because they want to learn from racing, because it puts the cars to the test and new technology to the test. A lot of technology that we use in our normal driving cars came from racing. A lot of it, most of it actually did, right? Windshield wipers. We didn't have those until someone said, "Hey, yeah, I can't race in the rain with windshield wipers." Someone said, "Let's make windshield," and all of those. That's just a small example, but like tire development, all of that comes from racing. The reason why Pirelli is in Formula One is because it puts those rubbers to the ultimate test. And if you can't, race on them, it means they're not good for road going use. And so, to answer your question, it's like, innovation and forward thinking things, right? And by doing that and testing and using racing as a development platform, car manufacturers learn from that. And I think there's an overlap in the sense of like a concept there, where blockchain is about innovation, and right now it is a lot about learning, right? That's why you don't see old-fashioned brands advertising in Formula One, because if you're into Formula One, you are into the fastest, the most awesome race in the world, right? And that's the kind of brands that want to be associated with F1 racing, and that's the kind of those are the kind of brands that really are interested in getting into racing and interested in the people that are watching racing. So I think that's why all of those crypto brands are advertising on Formula One. It's a audience that likes technology, innovation, and new things.
It makes a lot of sense. And there's just so many opportunities in Web3. There's metaverses, there's utility platforms, there's DAOs, there's agencies. You're clearly a Web3 enthusiast. You were looking at this entire landscape and you thought, I'm going to do a automotive NFT marketplace. What made you gravitate towards that instead of all of the other opportunities that were out there?
Well, when I left my my YouTube network company that I founded last year, like you said, I looked into all of the opportunities that were there, and we just felt like the way to bridge the automotive enthusiast crowd and the Web3 technology and what was going on in Web3. Oh, first of all, we felt no one was doing it, in a good way. They were just maybe just like biting bits and pieces here and there. And there were some projects, obviously, but no one in the automotive industry or the automotive media space was actually embracing Web3 and saying, we're going to connect the audience, this enthusiast, passionate people about cars, to another passionate crowd about NFTs, to put that together and do something cool with it. No one was doing that. And we felt the easiest way to do it is to put NFTs into people's hands, right? And in order to do that, you have to have projects and good artists and brands to work with. And you also need a platform in order for people to mint NFTs. And that's how you get people to own NFTs. Mm-hmm. So it was a simple choice. We wanted to build a community of automotive enthusiasts and NFT enthusiasts, and that's the small little segment that we're building and creating. And there are other folks that are coming into the space, and it's good because the whole space is growing. I feel like it's really growing right now.
No, absolutely. And we made a joke over the emails that we're calling this the rise of the NFTs, right? However, like the collective elephant in the room is the last few weeks have been tough for the NFT market. Not all NFTs. I got a lot of heat on Twitter for saying it's been tough for the NFT market. And people are like, well, degen tunes are up and other side is up. And I'm like, okay. But in aggregate, it's been very hard on the NFT and crypto markets. In fact, if anyone wants to ask any questions about that, make sure to pop up with a Q&A. We'll have time for Q&A at the end. But as an overview, what is KurumaNFT doing to address this kind of bear market that we're entering in, to make sure that the product has staying power?
Well, we have a couple things going for us. The first thing is that we have multiple brands and artists that we're working with. So Kuruma, we have our own Pit Pass and our own platform, but we're not just one single project that is really, relying. We're not relying on one product. We have a lot of brands and artists that are lined up to work with us, and we're releasing. Like you said, we released this Pit Pass holder NFT a couple of weeks ago, and today we just launched a Jon Sibal, who's a famous automotive artist. He does renderings for a bunch of brands, and he does inking and comic book stuff for Marvel and DC. And so he's this huge dude that is doing these RWB NFTs. And RWB is an interesting brand that came from Japan but tunes Porsches, right? And so we have that whole community of those guys. And then next week we have the Racer. Racer is a magazine. They've been around for 30 years, and we're launching their NFT in the week of Indy 500. So we sort of have these projects lined up. And so the second reason, we're in for the long haul. We're not really relying on one project. And if one project, just happens to happen when, the crypto and NFT market just like actually, just tumbles down, it's not the end of the world for us. We just keep on marching forward. And it really is like a year from now, we're going to look back from this and say, wow, that was some really, tough times. And we were able to endure that and just keep on going. And look how many projects we have done, because we have about one project release a month. So we're probably going to have about, 12 to 13 NFT projects under our belt by that time. And you can only learn from actually doing it and experiencing it, all of this. So that's how I feel like it. You just have to, you set your mind to it. You just have to, go for it. And it's that's how I've run all my businesses. And when we were doing the YouTube channel, that we were hit by a lot of factors, uncontrollable factors.
Sure.
you just have to, just move forward, just keep on marching forward. And I think that's just the only way to do it, is just conviction and just dedication. You believe in something, you just have to move forward.
Absolutely. So I see in chat, there's a lot of people who are working in Web3. Another person who's doing automotive stuff. There's an ad agency. Robert from Dialect is in there. If you had a piece of advice in terms of how they should be looking at it, is now a good time to double back onto some Web 2 strategies? Should they keep going all in on Web 3? What do you think they should do during this kind of market?
They should do everything, I think.
There you go.
They should do everything. Yeah. I mean, you're building a community, and, Web3 community and, real life communities, it's no different. You have car meets, for example, all over Southern California where we are. And NFTs is just a digital form of that, right? You just want to hang out with people with a common interest. And in our case, it's cars. And there are different verticals within cars. It's like sports car guys and truck guys and, like hot rod guys. But we're all, hey, it's all good. It's all, you're all welcome. And then that's how you start building that community. And the NFT is just a tool that lets you verify that person if they had an NFT or not. And it's the same in real life. You want real life things when you're part of a community, like a T-shirt or a hat or an access to a certain event. It's the same virtually as well. And I think the Web3 is just trying to figure out right now the way to merge these two. But in the end, it's human beings that want to be part of a bigger thing. They want to belong, right? They want to be part of a community that's doing cool things and with cool people. So it's all the same, just because it's, we're starting with NFTs and we're saying we're a Web3 brand, doesn't mean folks want to go to real live events, doesn't mean that they don't want that T-shirt to flex that they have a Kuruma NFT, or a Jon Sibal RWB shirt, right? When they go meet their friends, grab a burger or whatever, or meet for cars and coffee, it's all the same.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And what I like to remind people of is there's only really, if you look at the data, there's only a few 100,000 people that are really buying NFTs. So when you say downturn in the market, we're talking about a downturn of a very small group. There's still a lot of expansion to happen. So what happens when you've burned out one group is you can start reaching out to new groups, and that's fair pricing, fair utility, marketing, right? It's like real community building and community outreach. So still tons and tons and tons of value here. For the real Web3 insiders, since there's a few of them that look like they're in the chat, you're built on Solana. We are seeing an absolute explosion of projects on Solana, especially in the last few months, when a big story on ETH has been the other side. Gas prices on ETH made it up to $7,000, or even before that, there were people saying, I literally can't buy this $20 NFT that I want to get because it'll cost me $150, right? So
yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
It's a really unfriendly change towards pricing fairness. So what made you decide to build on Solana? Was it just about gas fees, or were there other reasons?
Well, gas fees probably the biggest reason. When we're talking about automotive enthusiasts, and our first step is, like I said, is getting NFTs into automotive enthusiasts' hands. Our goal is not to capture the NFT crowd. Obviously, we want the NFT crowd to embrace the automotive NFTs. But when you think about, bringing the automotive enthusiasts onto Web3, there's just no way you can justify, hey, we're selling a $100, NFT, and we want you to pay, $200 or $300. It's just, no one would just buy that. It just doesn't make any sense at all. So we were introduced to Solana when we were figuring out what chain we should be on, and it just felt like the right choice. The product was there, the platform was there. We work with Olaplex on the secondary market. And we work with guys at Creator Machine for our minting. And, Solana's been great. I mean, it's cheaper, it's faster. It's got its problems, but like I said, no one's perfect right now.
Yeah, they all do. In a new market, there's one thing. I remember the early days of YouTube, everyone went, oh, YouTube will never take out. Videos blink out all the time and uploads fail. And it's like, all right, well, you can either be defeatist or you could say, well, we can figure out those problems,
Right, exactly.
You've touched on this a few times, but I'd really like to dive in deeper. This generation of NFTs, even I like to consider NFTs as kind of being three generations now. There was the fine art generation, Beeple $69.3 million thing.
Right.
And then there was the Bored Apes generation, which was heavily around kind of one-of-one PFPs. It's about self-identification. It was kind of like you get entrance into a community of other buyers, but that was kind of the main focus, was like you buy it and now you're in a community and let's go. Now we're starting to get into what I consider to be the third generation, which is like utility, right? What else do I get besides the community and the NFT? So for KurumaNFTs, what kind of utility can owners expect, and how does the NFT technology help empower that?
Right. So I think you're right. We are in the third generation of NFTs where utilities become a key factor. And PFPs probably won't go away for a long time too. I mean, it's pretty strong. The PFP, movement is really strong. And like I said, when you're part of a community and you've got the lions going against the hippos and the apes, and I mean, it's a big deal, right? It's a thing. And totally validated, right? The power of community and the power of being part of something is extremely powerful. And so we launched a thing called the Pit Pass, Founders Pit Pass, which is our utility token. It really is just this, pass that actually, when you go to a racetrack, you get this Pit Pass if you are allowed to go in all the way to the pit lane, for example. That's the pass that's going to get you to places, and maybe sometimes it'll act as a VIP pass to get you into a suite or something like that. That's where we got the idea. That's why we call it the Pit Pass. So the Pit Pass is essentially your KurumaNFT membership card. And with this card, the strongest utility it has is that you get whitelisted on all of the future Kuruma projects. So if you own a Pit Pass, you are able to mint 48 hours before everyone else does on this Jon Sibal RWB drop that we just did, 3 hours ago. Racer Magazine, the same. We're doing this thing called Bakeneko. He's usually on Ethereum. He's a one-of-one artist, but he's doing his first automotive drop with us. And so with a Pit Pass, you're going to be able to mint, earlier than anyone else. And so we're keeping the value of the Pit Pass up by that way. But it also acts like a membership card. So you're going to get invited to, say, for instance, our launch party that we did in downtown LA. We're going to have we're planning a Le Mans watch party. So if you have a Pit Pass, you're going to be invited to these things. You're also eligible for limited merch. But most importantly, what we're starting to do is talk to a lot of brands that are interested in getting into, like I said, the Formula One. And the reason why Formula One markets to this crowd is because you are tapping into a crowd that is into cars and into new things, right? This is a new, market that's developing. And if you own an NFT, you're obviously a little bit tech savvier than your neighbor, right? And if you are into cars and NFTs, then you are in the market for high technology, right? You're into tech, you're into cars. We just did a little survey on our Discord. We have a really valuable member base that many brands would love to tap into. So we're getting inquiries from brands now that don't necessarily want to launch their own NFT product, but they're using our Pit Pass and our NFTs as a way to tap into this market. So our utility token sort of becomes a over-the-top marketing opportunity where you don't necessarily have to come out with your own product and just do this launch, and no one knows how to do it right. It's
Right.
a lot of work, right? It's a lot of work to launch your own project, but they can tap into the market without going through all the trouble by teaming up and partnering with guys like, with brands like KurumaNFT that have this market, or have a membership of owners of car and tech savvy audiences. So I think that is the way, at least that's how we're kind of approaching this. And we're in the middle of talking to many brands about just using our NFTs as a way to tap into this new and growing market.
That's very exciting. As a Pit Pass holder, I'm very excited about the opportunity for brands to possibly jump in. So a lot of racing is also based around these experiential events, right? Going to the races, even the Pit Pass, as you said, is about kind of those VIP experiences. Do you have plans on the roadmap in order to kind of invite the community together to go do something? I mean, I know you just did the party, but other things that are kind of out in the real world?
Yeah, so we're planning a Le Mans 24 hours of Le Mans watch party, a night event, a day of sort of three.
Sure, it has to be, right? Yeah.
3 time zones. Yeah. So we're doing that. We are talking about real live race experiences as well, which we will announce later. But this is, it will give the opportunity for Pit Pass holders to actually attend events and get sort of a VIP experience, and those are just coming up, and we'll be announcing those pretty soon. Also, we're talking to brands that offer not digital products but real life products as well. So we're going to be matching real life products, die-cast toy, I'm going to say it, a die-cast toy with the digital version of it,
Cool.
Combined as one offering. So we're doing that. Oh, and by the way, the Racer magazine drop that we're doing next week during Indy 500 week, they actually will get the digital version of the magazine cover, designed by Paul Leggett, but they're also going to get a 24 by 32, I think, canvas.
Cool.
That's produced by our partners John Doe. So that's an example of a really cool partnership where an NFT brand like Kuruma partnered with a global print on demand distributor, a company that could fulfill those orders like worldwide. So our audience is worldwide. John Doe has multiple printing facilities around the world. So what we do is we take the order and we get their information, and they get their digital NFT right away. In a couple of weeks, they're going to get actually a framed canvas delivered to them as well. So that's it's a combo deal. So we're going to be doing a lot of those kinds of real life and digital experiences, and also products as well.
That's very cool. That's very cool. We've got a couple more questions, but then we'll get to Q&A. If you have any questions for the Q&A, don't put it in chat. Click that Q&A button right at the bottom. Make sure to type it in there. So I've just got to say, I'm a lifelong gamer. As soon as I think of racing, I immediately think of Forza, Gran Turismo, Need for Speed, of course, Mario Kart. And there's so many video game applications for racing, and major publishers are trying to find their way into the NFT market. Do you see gaming and future metaverse applications as a big part of your roadmap?
I would like it to be, yeah, for sure. Yeah, there are a few challenges right now. That's why it's not happening yet. But when I was first explaining, okay, what are you doing at Kuruma? I don't understand what you're doing. What is this like Kuruma-verse that you're talking about? I always, told them, have you ever played Gran Turismo? It's like, yeah, well, Gran Turismo is basically a metaverse. You
right.
you go into Gran Turismo and, you buy your car, your first car, and then you rack up points, and you can upgrade your car to a better car. You have a garage, you go, talk with your friends, and that's what we're trying to do, on the blockchain. And what if you can take your car out of the game, trade it with another friend, buy and sell new cars like, you would outside of the platform, that's an NFT. And so I think it's coming. And that's why the gaming companies are all, interested in the space. I mean, this is where it's going. And just the economics of gaming is just, it's an awesome, space, and we'd love to be a part of it. And I think the first step is for people to start owning these, car NFTs. And in the near future, I hope, someone can test drive their RWB, Jon Sibal, RWB Porsche on the track or on the street, or, all the possibilities are there. And we can't wait to get into that.
So you talked a little bit about your partners in that last one. When you're talking to a new partner, how do those conversations even go? Are they generally people who are like, I know about NFTs, I'm interested? Do you have to start from the very start of like, what the heck is this? And then how do those deals structure?
Yeah, it ranges. It ranges really from folks that, have no idea to, people that have done their homework and they're pretty specific about what they want to do. One of the racing teams that we had a conversation with recently, they have a clear goal of what they want to do with NFTs. They don't know how it works. They don't know the details of how exactly it happens, but they already have a goal in what they want to do with NFTs, because they see the possibilities. And I think that's the most important thing. So they've like cleared the first step already, because many people just come in saying, hey, we want to do NFTs, but we don't know why we want to do it. And that's like the biggest mistake, right?
Right.
Right?
Yeah, I hear there's money here. Can I get the money? Right.
Right. Or it's like, it's a PR thing. We want to do it because we think we want to get, and if that's the goal, maybe that is fine, and but they should have a clear goal. Everyone should have a clear goal when you're getting into it. Why they want to get into this, and why do you want to release series? Why is it a 101? Why is it 9,000? I mean, it's then we have to sort of start shaping it up and kind of build it. It's this, a lot of it is custom, a custom made product. But I think that's where we sort of that's where we live. That's the space we live in, where we talk with brands or artists, and we make their goals come true. Sort of like an agency, like an NFT agency that has our own product as well. And we feel like that's the best way to approach this. Unless we have our own community and fans of car enthusiasts, there's no way a project would work, because some of the brands and the artists that come to us maybe they have a big presence on Instagram or somewhere else, but if they don't understand what they're being sold, it's just going to backfire. Right. And we've seen a lot of that happen where, a big brand just without any prep or storytelling or anything, they just kind of like launch an NFT project, and it just backfires on them. Like, what the heck? Why are you doing this? We've seen a lot of that happen. So a lot of it is, hand holding. A lot of it is explaining what needs to be done. Why are we doing it? And then you just execute.
Yeah, my favorite is looking at the discords of branded NFTs when they launch, and then putting it in my calendar to check in on it 3 months later. And the ones that kind of abandoned the project after a month, you see it in the Discord where people are like, right, I will never eat at this restaurant again. Or like, you promised me all this roadmap, and then what? You gave me one giveaway or whatever. It can get very brutal if brands don't plan this for the long term. So
right, exactly.
And we've got one more. Oh, sorry. We've got one more question before we get to the Q&A, because I see the Q&A starting to fill up. So if you've got any questions, please make sure to put them in now, because we'll leave ourselves a little bit of time for that. But looking into the future, KurumaNFT, if with success, if these drops go wildly well, the market comes back in 5 years, where do you want this thing to go?
Well, we want to, we feel like the community is a huge aspect of where we are and where we're going. But it's also converging between the assets and storytelling at the same time. So I see ourselves becoming a new type of company that has never existed on this earth at this time, because we're going to be a brand that is essentially owned by our stakeholders, who are our NFT holders. And there always needs to be leadership. So Kuruma will take the leading role, but we have to listen. We have to listen to our community, and it's not about us just dictating the way we go in terms of everything. Just because in this Web3, our holders are our NFT holders are stakeholders. They are not just followers or viewers, or just fans. They actually own a stake in the brand. So that's the difference between companies and brands up until now and brands of the future. And we want to be the latter. And that it just makes a big difference, because the stakeholders are your cheerleaders at the same time, but we need to be accountable. If the brand grows, the value of the stakeholders grows as well. So we're really in it together with our community and our audience. So I think that's where we see ourselves in 5 years, where we're going to be a completely new kind of company and brand in the automotive space.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, let's get to the Q&A. I see we've got 5 questions, so we'll try to get to them all, but we only have 7 minutes. So if we don't get to you, hit us up on LinkedIn, hit up Taro, hit up me. We'll figure it out. Darren Phillips asks, are you getting IP licensing agreements from automotive manufacturers, or are you at all concerned about them finding your company's artwork and making claims at some point down the road? My experience is that large companies ignore small usage of their projects until ... there's some money to be collected.
Great question. So one of our advisors, if you check out KurumaNFT.com, one of our advisors is, his name is Bruce Garfield. He used to be the IP trademark licensing head at American Honda. So he was on the other side of the licensing and the trademark game, where he was at Honda and going after guys earlier in his career. He sort of changed his stance after he realized he'll be the first to admit he was doing it wrong, because the brands now realize the power of the community and fans and things like that. So now American Honda is the first to admit that they had it wrong for a long time. They're going after like fan clubs and the Integra Club, for example, or the Civic Club, or guys who are wearing like Honda T-shirts without permission. They embrace it now because they understand that it's a part of branding and it's a part of where the fan base is going, and they're like promoting their product for them. On the other hand, we need to do it right. So we have Bruce on our side now, really, telling us and advising us on ways we should be doing things and how we should be working with the brands and IP holders. And that's why we have actually, our business model is very clear. We have IP licensing agreements with our artists, because they are lending their IP to us, and we run it like the business is run like a licensing deal, like Honda would pay Gran Turismo give Gran Turismo permission to have Honda Civic in their game. It's the same way. Or anyone, Disney, gives permission to a toy company to make a toy of a Star Wars toy, for example. They get paid royalties. Our business is very similar to that, where we have licensing agreements with all of our artists and IP holders, and that's how we do it. We try to do it right. It's learning and figuring it out as we go along, because the trademark and the IP laws for NFTs hasn't really been established yet.
Mm-hmm.
So not everything is clear at the same time. We're trying to do it right, but the laws haven't even caught up at this point. So but the goal is to do it right. Yeah, and we're trying to do it right.
No, that's wise. And I'm going to give a little bit of utility here to a Pit Pass holder and let him jump the line on the question, because he identified himself. So there you go. You're getting your utility in the Q&A. Hey, Taro, Joshua here, Pit Pass holder and owner of number 37 JSRWB NFT. Thanks for sharing your perspective. As the head of experience for Shrapnel, a blockchain-based AAA FPS game, I spend a great deal of my time thinking about the approachability of Web3 for every person. Gamers in my case, and how frictionful the Web3 experience is. How are you thinking about helping the average car person overcome the technical and mental hurdles of the space so that they too can participate in what's happening with today's technology, powering tomorrow's experiences? How can we share perspectives to help push the industry forward? Thanks again for both you and Phil for the great session. Thank you, Josh.
Oh, great. Oh, thank you, Josh. And thank you for being a holder of the Jon Sibal RWB. Thanks. Great question. And, we talk about this all the time. Like, we have a team meeting every Tuesday, but this morning we were talking about, okay, so how much do we really have to educate, and guide, because we spend a lot of time doing that. And the challenges are there. Obviously, it's really, really hard to buy an NFT right now. You have to, you have to have crypto in the first place. We started this thing called integrated cross minting, so people can buy using their credit cards, and that alleviates a little bit of the pain. But still, there's some challenges to that as well. But I think the key is to be a brand that is willing to help and guide and educate. We do a Twitter space every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. and a lot of the time is spent on, first time listeners. Just, okay, how do you get into this? How do you download this Solana, a Phantom wallet, for example?
Right.
Then you go to our page and click the mint. And what does that actually mean? We spend a good chunk of a portion just talking about that. We skip it sometimes when we have, guests that want to, need to go right away and things like that. But I think you just have to be willing to do a little bit of handholding and, include education and guidance within your marketing plans, because that's totally necessary. If you throw something out there, the barrier to entry is high right now, and the struggle is real.
Yes.
I understand that. Yeah, no, it's true.
Well, unfortunately, we are out of time. That went so fast. I am going to copy the remaining Q&A that hasn't been addressed into a sheet and send it over to Taro so that he can reach out directly. And also, thank you so much for everybody in chat. Thank you, Taro, for being here. We really appreciate it. And if people want to find a Pit Pass right now, where should they go?
Go to KurumaNFT.com for your Pit Pass, and go to KurumaNFT.com for your RWB 1 of 200. It's a unique illustration by Jon Sibal. Go pick it up, and thanks for your time.
You bet. Thank you. Everybody go get those Phantom wallets, fill it up with Solana, and go shopping at KurumaNFT. And thank you again to Digital Media Wire for having us. Thank you for tuning in for another Rise of the NFTs. We do this every 2 weeks to a month, depending. So make sure to keep checking in on your emails, tuning into these, and we'll talk to you next time. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.